All right, guys, we're going to talk about something that we're all guilty of. And it's about venting to our friends. And I know we all do it. And, it may seem like something that is good. And there's a good way to talk to our friends because we're human beings. We need to talk to people to give us that relief, get advice, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a way that a lot of us, I would say 90 probably percent of us do it wrongly, which is to give full vent to your spirit. And so the thing is, it can go very wrong. It could be poisonous to you, and I'm going to show you why. And it could be poisonous to your spirit, and also it could be poisonous to your friendship, to whoever you're talking to, and actually poisonous to your friend as well. So let's actually break this down. So let's go to the verse. It's in Proverbs. There's a lot of great things in Proverbs. Proverbs 29:11. It says, "A fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back." And so what does that even mean? What does a full vent even mean? So what it basically is saying is it contrasts a fool who lets everything erupt outward with and then a wise person who governs their inner life and restraint and timing. So I had to kind of do some research. In Hebrew, fool is kesel. So a kesel is not necessarily someone who's just uninformed. It's actually a word for a morally and spiritually dull person. So a kesel repeatedly ignores correction and acts from impulse, pride, and stubbornness. Okay, so it's not just being dumb. It really isn't. It's being spiritually dull. Okay, let's keep going. Full vent. Now, please excuse me for how to pronounce this. Yevoya, I believe it's how you say it. And the verb has a sense of pouring out, bubbling up, and gushing forth. And so the fool essentially lets whatever is inside gush out. We do that all the time, right? It's like, you're so angry at this person. I totally get it. I've been here. It's like, you're so angry. You just want to vent. This person's bad. Was a horrible person. And, this person did this, et cetera, et cetera. That is called, actually giving full vent. It's gushing out words. And then the spirit is kind of your inner emotion, right? So the problem with this, guys, is that what you're telling your spirit is, and I talk about this before, is you're allowing your spirit to just do whatever, you're allowing your body, your flesh to do whatever it wants. And that's not a good thing. It's not good for you to be uncontrolled or untamed. That's honestly what makes us different from an animal. An animal literally has a feeling, right? Or instinct, whatever you call it. And then it has action. There's no in between. It just goes from feeling to action right away. Sorry, I just want to make sure my camera's working. And then a person, a human being, God gave us this incredible ability to have choice. We have a feeling, and in between the action, right, we have choice. We could choose to, feel a certain way, or we could choose, we can choose to calm the way we feel. Let's just say that. So that's really what it is. A wise person quietly holds back. So what that means is, again, this is Hebrew, yashbihena. That's how to say it, yashbihena. And it basically is relating to calming or stilling, okay? Stopping the motion of the water and waves. So it's calming the sea, or the kind of like if a bucket had sloshing water, it's kind of like trying to calm that. It's not about bottling up feelings, because I'm sure you're thinking like, well, I don't want to oppress myself and hold. No, it's not about that. It's about actively calming yourself and steadying yourself. Because here's what happens when you just spew out all of this negativity. First of all, life and death are in the power of the tongue. You guys all know that verse, right? It's Proverbs 18:21. And here's the thing. When you say all those negative things, oh, this person's lazy. Oh, this person is so shady or unreliable, or whatever negative traits. What you're doing is you're spewing negativity out, which is affecting your soul, and it's affecting the person you're talking to, right? And it's not, it's so destructive on you because you're actually you are putting those traits onto you. And you're associating those traits onto you subconsciously, spiritually. It actually is very negative on you. And also, when you're not controlling your anger or your, resentment and all that, and you're just spewing all these things out, again, it's allowing your flesh to grow. And I've talked about this before, where it's like, if you allow your flesh to grow, it spills into other things. There's like, I'm going to have a no restraint mentality. I'm going to do me, right? That ridiculously stupid mindset. It's a sinful mindset because you're essentially saying, I'm going to hold nothing back. And you're going to let the flesh go. Well, then you're going to start becoming a more jealous person. You're going to start becoming a more angry person. You're going to start being a more lustful person. That's the way it works, right? So what the wise man does is he controls his body, his flesh. He controls this, calms down his emotions. And then when you speak, this is what you should do is when you speak, let them know kind of the way you feel, but then don't speak so negatively and with such anger. Try to calm yourself down and speak. Let them know how you're feeling. Let them know how you're feeling. Focus more on your feeling. This person made me feel like this, okay, rather than this person's a horrible person, this person's et cetera, this and that. And I'll tell you, like, again, we want to get practical, right? Because the Bible is super practical. I don't know if you've ever read the book 7 Levels of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's one of my favorite books. If you haven't read the book, it's just one of the greatest books of all time. And he talks about the emotional bank account. Essentially, negative talk, what that does is it breaks the trust between the person you're talking to. Because that unjust criticism, the disrespect, the overreactions, the cutting remarks, it creates withdrawals from this, what we call emotional bank account, where you're taking trust out. Because here's what happens. When you talk negatively to that friend of yours, right? You think your friend's going to, of course, be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh, what a piece of crap. Blah, blah, blah. Your friend's going to do that, of course. And it makes you feel this artificial, hey, I'm getting closer together with my friend. But actually what it's doing subconsciously is bringing you farther from your friend. Because over time, what happens is when there's a conflict between you two, what happens is all of those negative traits, all of that negativity that you spoke of, when you guys turn around, you guys are going to feel like subconsciously, you're going to feel all that negativity for each other. Like when you turn around and all that negativity was spewed, you're going to think your friend is thinking that same thing. And your friend is also going to think you're saying stuff like that and being critical and negative about them. And thus, a lot of friendships break because of this dynamic. And then, of course, well, what do? We find new friends, right? But really, you're just not being a good friend. You're not practicing healthy relationships. So practically, what the Bible says is giving full vent to your spirit is actually not healthy. I used to do this a lot when I was younger, right? I thought that this was normal, like everybody does it. But then as soon as you start reading the Bible and you read incredible books like Stephen Covey's book, you start realizing that from someone who has had relationships for a very long time, very long, healthy relationships, including my marriage, really, I have to be really careful about the way I have to do practices like these to maintain these long-term relationships. Again, I had someone from Korea come, and she's young, right? And so she just recently had a thing with her boyfriend. And of course, she's going to give full vent to her spirit. Again, she's young, this and that. But as I'm listening to her, I could have been like, yeah, he is a piece of crap. Oh, yeah, he is lazy. Or yeah, blah, 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 blah. I could totally do that. But I'm telling you, that girl would lose trust in me if I actually started agreeing. So this is now being the friend who's listening to the vent. I would actually be breaking the relationship between me and this girl by agreeing with her. And so, and also spewing out negativity, because that's what people do. Again, it feels good to like criticize someone and bring someone down. And so rather what I did was I was like, well, like I hear you. You want to listen to them and be like, oh, wow, it must have been really hurtful, or it must have been frustrating. Talk about the feeling more, about her feeling, or this person's feeling. And then try to be understanding too. It's like, well, the person did just get, rejected from, this school and probably wasn't the best self. And you're like not defending, because you got to be careful, but you also want to be just a little bit more positive and loving, because honestly, people they act certain ways because of something that happened to them, about hurts in the past, right? And if we were, honestly, this is what America does. We're just so negative and critical. But if we were more empathetic for each other, man, what a beautiful life, what a beautiful world that we would live in. But we're not. This is our narrative. This is what we think. And everyone else is wrong. And they're horrible people for thinking like this. No, both the left and the right in the political arena, they both have good intentions. Okay. Everybody has, most people have good intentions. It's just they have misunderstandings of particular subjects. And so all that to say, guys, is that giving full vent to your spirit, right? When you're talking to your friends or family or whoever, is actually not a healthy thing. And there's a healthy way to do it. There's a healthy way. And it says the wise man quietly holds back, which means that he just kind of controls his emotions. And when he speaks, again, life and death are in the power of the tongue. There are people who just they'll say whatever that's on their mind, no filter mentality. That is really dumb. Guys, where did we learn that? Whatever the movies are telling you, it's basically telling you it's teaching you sinful, satanic, methods. There's nowhere in the Bible that talks about that, right? We are to be disciplined. We are to have choice. We are to control our spirit. Not just, say whatever that's on our mind. It's actually very unkind and selfish to be like that. And you might think it's cool because, where did you get that concept? You got it from movies. I'm going to do me, I'm the best, blah, blah, blah. That's pride, okay? And so I'm trying to break this mentality that the world is telling us, and let's start controlling our spirit, because we have choice and we can calm down. We can be kinder. We can think about it. When someone really hurts you, pray and really pray with the Lord and see how much that changes what's going on in here. It really does. I've been very angry at my parents before, right? They've hurt me in many ways. But I'm telling you, when I spend time with the Lord, it changes my heart and it softens me, okay? It helps me be reflective. It helps me also see what I've done wrong as well. And that's another thing that people don't really do. They're not introspective enough to see what wrong that they've done. I'll stop there. I hope you guys are hearing me here, and I hope you guys have a good day.